Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we're going to talk about being prepared. There are a whole lot of people who want to get prepared now after what has recently happened. They want to be ready for the next event. There will be another one. There will always be another one. If you have any interest in this topic, I strongly suggest you watch this video. We're going to go into a lot more detail than we have before, and I have props today. This started because somebody on the live stream was like, hey, I want to take my stimulus and get prepared. I'm like, awesome. Send me your details. Tell me about your personal situation, and we'll turn it into a video. We'll get you prepped up, because $1,200 for one person, oh, that's awesome. You can get somebody up completely for that. $1,200 for 6 people. Well, that's a challenge. And this is why YouTube videos on this subject are not particularly helpful most times, because they do not take into account your personal situation. They are made generally for people like me, people that have outdoor skills, people that have training, people that are more comfortable with it. There aren't many made for the average person. So the details come in. And yeah, it's 6 people, not 1. That's a big difference. There are 2 schools of thought when it comes to getting prepared. One is skill-based. That is, you learn a whole bunch, therefore you don't need much. That's normally for young, fit, single people. As you get a house full of kids, you realize that you may be able to survive on next to nothing, but you may need to prepare a little bit more for them. And that's the other school of thought, preparing ahead of time, stockpiling stuff, getting ready. However, that requires space. If you live in a small apartment, that gets real hard and you have to get creative. And that is the situation we are dealing with. Somebody with little training and little space. That's a challenge. That's a challenge, which makes it fun. Okay. So, in this case, because we're talking about 6 people who don't have any of this stuff, I'm going to do something I normally would say don't do. I'm going to recommend getting a pre-packed bag, just buying one. Normally, I would suggest you pack it yourself. However, if you have that many people, it makes sense to just go ahead and have some company do it for you. I've never seen a 6-person bug out bag. It may exist. I have seen 4-person, and you can make do with that, and the stuff that you know you're going to need additional of, you can just throw in. A 4-person bug out bag runs around $150. That has the canteens, matches, flashlights, the basic stuff that you're just going to have. Everybody's going to have. It's a good building block. It's a good starting point. It's probably also going to come with a cool military bag, which you're going to throw away. You're not going to use it for this, and we'll explain why later. So that's one big purchase. The next one is a medical kit. And by a medical kit, I do not mean a $20 first aid kit from Walmart. This is just a bunch of Band-Aids. Good ones, I've done a video that shows like a real high-end one. Good ones that are readily available everywhere, the M17 and the M39 medical bags from DoD. They are packed with everything you need to treat an injury. They have everything you need. There's not much that you're going to encounter that those things won't help with when it comes to injury, but that doesn't help with illness. So the next thing you have to do is go to the dollar store to get your meds. You go there because it's inexpensive and you can get a wide variety of stuff to treat a wide variety of illnesses. They also tend to use pressed pills there, not gel caps, which is important. There's a study called the Shelf Life Extension Program. If you're going to do this, you have to actually go and read this stuff, because it doesn't apply to all medicine. And you need to be certain that the ones that you're counting on fall into the category I'm talking about here. And this is an important note. You have to actually read it. You have to check your specific med. Generally, what they have found with pressed pills, this doesn't apply to gel caps or liquid stuff, anything that's biological, they don't go bad. Not in the sense that they become harmful. They become less potent, which means they'll still do some good, depending on the type of med. Make sure you go read it and check it. I can't stress that enough. But they have found that many meds 10 years later will still retain like 90% of their potency. So I would read that first and then pick the meds that match up with that program that you can get your hands on. Okay, the next thing is your EDC kit. EDC means everyday carry. That's like a Swiss Army knife, multi-tool, little baby flashlight, lighter, stuff like that. And as the name suggests, you should have it on you all the time, just in case. Okay, the follow-up is a knife. Now, generally people like me who are outdoorsy, we use our knives every day. So when we recommend a knife, it's going to be a knife that stands up to everyday use for years. You probably don't need a Gerber or a Spyderco or something like that. You probably don't need a $300 knife because you don't use it every day. Camillus, this brand, you can pick them up at most big box stores. For 1/10 of the price of one of the knives that is normally recommended by somebody like me, you could get 3 of these. They're literally like $10 a piece. And they work. They're durable. They last. You want to get 3 of them. If you have one, you have none, because the second you need it, it's going to break. So go ahead and get 3. Now that's $30. So far we're at $150 for the bag, $200 for the medical kit, $20 for the EDC stuff, $30 for the knife or knives. Fishing kit, if it is relevant to you, $30 to $40. So you can get fish. Then that helps not have to store as much food. Seeds, in case things go really crazy. You can get some that are pre-packed for long-term storage. They'll come in like a bucket or a Mylar bag, something like that. The Mylar bags tend to be the best bang for the buck. Under normal circumstances, it's like $15. I've seen them now because of everything going crazy. They're like $80. They're not worth that. They're the same seeds that you would get in a paper bag, like heirloom seeds in any garden shop. They're just packed differently. If you can find it at a reasonable price, it's probably worth having it pre-packed for you. If not, do it yourself. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is water. If you have a small apartment, you can't like store a whole bunch of gallons of water. You don't have the room. These are collapsible water containers. They're like $2. You can pick them up online. That one I think is 2.5 gallons. They have some that are 5, whatever. But you spend $10, $15 like that, and that's it. I mean, you fill them up when you need them, or when you suspect that you're going to need them. You don't have to have them around the whole time, full, taking up space. So that's getting a little creative with the space there. In case the water coming out of your tap is bad, you're going to need a Sawyer or a Life Straw or water purification tablets. Sawyers and Life Straws, they work the same way. The water goes through a filter. The tablets, you drop the tablet in, makes the water taste a little funny, but it purifies it from non-chemical stuff. And that's something you need to be aware of. This doesn't mean that you can, this stuff doesn't treat runoff from industrial places. That is just something to take note of. People have an opinion on which is best. I don't. I really don't. I don't think it matters that much. I will say that I have both. Tablets are useful for a large party, like a group of 6, in case somebody has to venture off for a couple of days. They may not be able to take one of the straws with them because you may need it. But you can tear off a strip of Purification tablets. So they are useful. None of that stuff takes up much space. For shelter, Mylar tents, incredibly inexpensive, and they work. They are crinkly, they're noisy, and they're bright silver, so it wouldn't be great if you're looking to lay low. You may want to get a poncho liner or something like that to subdue it a little bit if you want to. We're looking at 20 bucks. That takes care of food, water, fire, shelter, knife, and medicine. All of that is less than $600. So the next thing we're going to talk about in the next part of the video is, number one, why you threw that bag away, and you're not going to use it for this. We're going to talk about food stores, the different kinds of food that you can store for long periods of time, and stuff that isn't mandatory, but that you may want anyway. All right. So, part 2 should be coming soon. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.